Okay, we are about a week into 2025 and it is time to try our first non-alcoholic wine. I was originally going to do the Odd Bird GSM and talk about that area of France. I think I've neglected it a little more than I ought, but for a couple reasons that I will leave as unspoken, tantalizing foreshadowing, we're going to do that one either next week or even the following week. This week, we are tasting the Saint Viviana Cabernet Sauvignon. So Saint Viviana only makes 2 wines, and frankly, I think that is somewhat to be respected. The non-alcoholic market is absolutely booming. It's kind of hard to research just like non-alcoholic beverage trends because without deep diving, and I'm sorry, not sorry, but I just didn't have like the time and the spoons for this episode. I can't tell if that includes like sodas or pop or whatever you want to call fizzy bevvies, teas, coffees, etc. However, if you look just at ready-to-drink mocktails, the market is predicted to reach over $12 billion by 2030. Yes, you heard me right. So anyway, it's probably tempting for companies to like just do the whole, I don't know if you've heard the like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, that sort of model. Really is a weird expression actually now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so some companies may be doing that. I don't know, I'm not trash talking anyone, but I think Saint Viviana might just be focusing on like, what are the 2 dealcoholized wines we want to make, and then let's do them really well. Now, I also haven't had them yet, so we'll see if I'm like foot in mouth by the end of this episode. Now, Saint Viviana Cab Sauv comes out of Paso Robles, which is currently like an absolute hotspot for cabs. Admittedly, it's not my favorite spot for them because they tend to get like just outrageously bold and fruity, like really pushing those primary flavors in that New World style to its limits, while the Old World is like clutching at its pearls. But if I'm looking for something that's been dealcoholized, part of me is like, okay, maybe it's better if I'm anticipating it being more on the primary end of the flavor spectrum, rather than those secondary or tertiary flavors that I look for in those Old World European blah 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 styles. This wine is de-alcoholized, which is different than wine that never sees alcohol at all. It's why it says like less than 0.5 alcohol by volume. I will link in the video description. We talked last year around this time about the de-alcoholization process. So if you want to go back and watch that one, it'll be in the video description. I don't know why I'm pointing down. In the meantime, the ingredient list for this is de-alcoholized Cab Sauv, water, sugar, yeast protein, potassium carbonate, and oak extract. I'm assuming that last one gives it a little more of that like more genuine wine profile. On their site, the company touts that the wine is a result of, and I quote, a year-long process including some of the finest winemakers in California, a master sommelier, and lots of tasting. Now, there are only 172 master somms in the US and only, I believe, 269 worldwide. So I was really hoping they might say like which one helped them, but I was unable to dig up that info. A little bit of a bummer. The site also states that the wine begins as a fantastic wine, so I was hoping for some sort of tech sheet, but alas, no luck there either. The science nerd in me is wondering, part of why I wanted to look into this, like, should there be adjustments made to the base wine whose fate is to become dealcoholized? When we look at quality, right, like the SAT that we've been talking about, we grade like the balance. So if there's no alcohol in that trio of acid, tannin, and alcohol, does that mean that a wine that's fated to become dealcoholized should start off balance? Or do we want to do significantly more cold soaking so we pull even more flavor with less tannin? Do we actually want a little more tannin and a touch less flavor because the alcohol won't be there to help fight against like the fruitiness, and that could make the product feel more like juice than like wine? Dear any advanced or master sommeliers out there working with the non-alcoholic and de-alcoholized wine companies, could you please start sharing the tech sheets? Probably none of you are watching this, so if you have friends who are one of those people, please let them know or please ask them, because inquiring minds want to know. Mine and hopefully yours. Hi, Peaches. Anyway, without good specs to share, I just started rooting around for your basic everyday reviews. So I found one that was like leather, vanilla, dark cherry, currant, and cocoa, which is like what I'd want in a regular cab. And so that seems promising. Hi, buddy. Do you want some blackberries, plums, coffee, vanilla, toast, currant, cherry, and baking spices? Yes, you probably do. Sounds very New World, but also like delicious. And then I think the last one, because I don't want to like bore you all to death, that's why we do the tastings. That was really lame. Anyway, it was blackberry, dark cherry, sweet baking spices with dusty tannins, and bright acid. That's definitely someone who's very into the wine world. Let's see how we feel about it. And by we, I mean me, because I don't dictate what you do or do not like. Anyway, nice little screw top here. I am using, honestly, I'm not using one of my super fancy glasses. I'm using more of a tasting glass. I'm using my phone to record, not my computer, so I will have to take a picture of what the color looks like. But I will go ahead and pull some paper over. I would give that, oh, there's a lot of like purpley on the edges here. I would give that a dark ruby. That's pretty nice. I wonder if there's, it's gonna be too complicated if I try to pick it up. There's already something like a little strange on the nose, but it almost smells aged, not fake. All right. It's almost like pie cherry. If cherry pie filling were savory. So maybe that's the baking spices. Okay, London, be serious. I get more of a red currant than a black currant. I can see black plum. Very ripe, like overripe black plum. Again, the cherry pie is overwhelming my ability. I guess in the intro sommelier course, this guy was like, if you're smelling something and you can't get past it, like take it, throw it away. So I'm throwing away the cherry pie filling. I could get a very ripe black cherry after that. I could get the baking spices. There's something, I almost want to say like, oh, this says coffee vanilla toast notes rounded out. Fruit continues on the palate with black currant, dark cherry, and sweet baking spices. I looked a little possessed when I came back to camera just then. I would almost go with a forest floor, like mushroomy. It's not like a genuine one. It's like the markers, the scented markers. I don't know if you had those as kids. I'm just gonna taste it. This is one of the strangest experiences of my life. I don't even know how to describe what just happened. Okay, so it is definitely bright acid. There's a lot of acid happening. And there is tannin, and they are very fine. So I guess I understand what that person meant by dusty. Would you like some dealcoholized wine, my little baby? My cat's there. I know he didn't show up in the screen, but... This is truly bizarre because it doesn't taste like juice. I think it's partly the tannins. I guess, okay, to give it credit, it tastes like a very warm climate Paso Robles, California wine. I'm thinking about actually a Pinot. I had once that was much too jammy for me. This has a little bit of that jammy quality. I was not expecting this. I think if I paired this with food, I don't know if it would have enough to stand up to like a steak, but I think the tannins are enough there to stand up to something pretty fatty, definitely enough acid to handle some salt. So I guess you could try a steak if you're a meat eating person, or I forgot the word for omnivore. Woo! But this could really stand up to some foods. I want to try pairing this with, honestly, quite a few things. I'm so, especially after last year's, because I didn't really love the ones we tried last year, I'm impressed. If you are looking for a French cab, you will not like this. If you are willing to open your eyes and minds and horizons to the fact that you will initially think it is sweet, and I definitely wouldn't call it dry. It even has a decent, like, not the length of the finish, but the taste of the finish is actually even pretty decent, which I think was missing on some of the other ones I've tried. Wow, I'm shocked. Okay, so I am tentatively, like I said, planning the GSM for next week, so we can dive into that area a little bit, and then I have like one other hopefully fun thing that I have ready. But if life throws a lot of chaos my way, we may just have the St. Viviana White, which I believe is a Sauv Blanc, and 3 sparklings. Until next time, I will write up a little SAT of this to put in the description, but I'm just gonna sit here and have my world a little bit rocked, so cheers!